How you doing? This is Coffee Break with Jimmy and Friends. I'm Jimmy Souza, your host, and we're going to talk about the Trump's federal indictment. Okay, and this is something that has to do with the Presidential Records Act, and they're not going to stop. The Democrats, the rhinos, they're not going to stop until they get Trump out of the way. They've been trying to get Trump out of the way for a long time. We talk about Russia, where they're investigating his administration. The two impeachments, and now this is his second indictment. And I don't know that this one's going to stick. They should actually just throw this one out, because what they're indicting about is the Presidential Records Act. This is Title 44, Chapters 2201 through 2207, which that covers the presidential records. Whatever the president wants to classify or declassify, or whatever he takes with him, this is up to him. And I think the archivists had been talking to Trump for some time before they went and raided Del Lago or Mar-a-Lago. They instead of they went down and raided the place and took all the records. They were talking to him about the records already. In fact, they asked him to put a second lock on the place. They had a lock on it, and they had to put a second lock. Well, that's fine. This is something that they were working on. But now they went ahead and raided it now. And now they're throwing up a smokescreen. Because why? Because Joe Biden and his son, Hunter, were given $5 million apiece. Apparently, this is the accusation by the Ukraine, and or the oligarchs in the Ukraine. And this was done when Joe Biden was vice president. Now, that's a little pay-for-play scheme there. We don't know all the legalities there, how true this is. Nobody really knows, because actually when when this came about, they went ahead and indicted Trump. 291 minutes they talked about the indictment on Trump, and they talked 0 minutes about Joe Biden and his son. And so they've been doing this for a while now, for 7 years now, throwing up smoke screens. When anything comes up, they have to get rid of something. They have to put, get your attention someplace else, right? They'll throw up a smoke screen and get you looking at something else, generally about Trump here, and trying to get him out of the way, because that's what they're trying to do. And I have to tell you, Donald Trump has been fighting for us since he started. When he started back in 2015, he's been fighting for us, the people. And I think it should be. If you don't understand it now, I think it's pretty prevalent now. You can see it now, more so than ever before, that he really wants to get this country back on track. And I think he's the guy to do it. I don't know if of any of these other guys running for the presidency for the GOP. I don't know, Christie or Ron DeSantis. There was a time that I thought, it'd be kind of neat to have Ron DeSantis and Trump run together as VP, and with Trump running for president. But apparently you can't be from the same state and run for president and vice president. I don't know. There's some rule that applies to that. I don't know what the rule is and exactly how it works, but apparently they can't do that. But that would have been nice, because then we would have had another like Reagan and Bush. Reagan ran for 8 years, and Bush another 4 years, and then when Clinton got elected after Bush, well, we had a balanced budget, and that had a lot to do with Reagan and Bush, what they did for 12 years. And that's what it's going to take. As they say, 12 years, 15 years to get ourselves out of debt. I don't know. Trump seems to think it can be done faster. I tend to believe him. Trump, things that he said, sometimes he'll say, wow, he'll say something, you'll say, oh, you can't do that, Donald. Well, he did it, and it happened, and it worked. So I believe him, and I believe that he can get this country back on track, and that's what we have to do. We have to stay on track with Donald Trump and get him back as the President of the United States. There's a lot of naysayers that say Joe Biden can beat him. I don't think Joe Biden has a track record good enough. I think that even Democrats, Republicans, Independents, I think everybody knows what Trump did in the time that he was during his administration, the progress that he made, and I think a lot of it was everybody on his back too. I mean, come on. I mean, he had everybody, the rhinos, the Democrats. He said he wanted to drain the swamp. Yeah, he wanted to drain the swamp. He didn't know how deep the swamp was. He really didn't know how deep the swamp. I don't think anybody knows how deep the swamp is. But again, Democrats and Republicans, I don't think they really wanted him to drain the swamp. So anyhow, we have to stay on track here. And of course, we have to see how this plays out, this indictment. I think it should be thrown out of court, personally. I think the Presidential Records Act covers him. Anything that's top secret and that he can declassify. And anything that is he's covered by the Presidential Records Act. And I think the archivists, I think they had a plan to do something, but now they weaponize the DOJ and the FBI, and now they're coming after Trump with everything they can, because this is going to be their way of getting him out of the way. And we need him to stay there. So we have to fight. This is our time. I mean, come on, there's times that everybody says, well, you got to stand up for him. This is the time to fight. This is the time to fight. This is the time to stand up for Donald Trump, like he has for us. When he talks to us, like when he got done, when he went to Miami when he went to Miami to get to plead not guilty to the indictment, and he stopped at that restaurant on the way back. And there were Cuban Americans and Venezuelan Americans and others. There were others there. They all cheered him on. They sang happy birthday to him. They prayed for him. And he bought everybody lunch. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, not too often that a person can go in there into a place like that with so many people and say, hey, food for everybody. But of course, Donald Trump can pretty much do that anytime he wants. But after all that, he felt so good, and they made him feel so good that he went on Twitter or not Twitter, but True Social, and or it might have been another news program, but he sent something out to the people thanking them for making them feel so warm and so welcome, and you don't get that from presidents. You don't get that where they actually talk to you and thank you for making them feel good, making them feel better, and then MSNBC and CNN, oh, we can't show that. That's not newsworthy. That's not news. We can't show that. Oh, come on, sure it's newsworthy. This is something that somebody does for good. Somebody thanking someone else for doing something good, and you can't show that? You got your head stuck up so far, well, wherever your head is. It's not in the right place. We have to keep our heads in the right place. We have to stay on track with Donald Trump. We have to support him. I'm calling on Democrats and independents, along with Republicans. Even some of you naysayer Republicans that say he can't win. You have to vote for him. You have to get him back in the office, because he's the one who's going to get this country back on track. If we don't, we're going to become a socialist country, and nobody really wants that, right? So we have to stay on track with that. Now, there's another indictment that I would like to talk about, and that's an indictment of Daniel Penny. Okay, I think he was just trying to protect the people on that subway train, and I think the witnesses have stated so much that he was protecting them. They felt threatened by this. What's his name? Jordan Neely, and they were trying to, he was trying to protect him from this guy. This guy was saying different things, like he was going to die. He didn't mind dying, and that usually means when somebody says they don't mind dying, they don't mind taking somebody else with them, and that has to make you feel a little nervous, to say the least. So this Daniel Penny was trying to protect people there on the train, and that's, he's a Marine, and not a former Marine. I guess you could say former Marine because he's not active anymore, but he is a Marine. And that's in your DNA now, and it doesn't leave. I know you can see my EGA right here. I'm a Marine, and I had been in that protective mode at times over the years. that's just what you do. And I hate to see this indictment keep people that, I mean, when someone, I mean, because I don't know what it is like. I've never been to New York, so I don't know what it's like in New York. I don't know what it's like on the subway. Never been on the subway, so I don't know. But you see the different videos and people pushing people onto the train tracks. Really? I mean, really? I mean, where's the police? Aren't they supposed to have some kind of a law enforcement on each, loading zone, loading area there in the subway? Maybe this Jordan Neely was a product of where they had the defunded police, so they don't have the police in certain areas, not on the train, not on the loading area where they get on the train. They didn't have a police presence there. Maybe he's a victim of that, and of course maybe he 51 the top 51 people that was in New York that they were looking at, saying that this guy was a loose cannon. Maybe he had some other ailments. Maybe it's a drugs or something like that. I don't know, but all that's going to come out. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know if this is something that. This is going to happen. He's going to court because he's been indicted already for second-degree manslaughter. I think that should be thrown out also. But let's see what happens there, and I hope and pray for this Daniel Neely, that things work out for him, because I think all he was trying to do was protect those people on the train, and I think it's pretty obvious. And so hopefully this indictment will actually get tossed out, just like the indictment for President Trump. And there is one more thing that I want to talk about just a little bit, and that's the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence that was invited to a Dodger game, because this is Pride Month, and so they were invited to the Dodger game, and they want to be all inclusive, and I think they ought to leave baseball to baseball. Those that, okay, I'm sure there's a lot of gay people and lesbians that go to baseball games. They have the right to do whatever they want, okay? And I have no problem if you're gay or you're lesbian. You love who you want to love, okay? But this transgender thing, a person wanting to go from being a boy to a girl or being a girl to a boy, I think that's a little bit over the top. I think that's more medical. It's not spiritual, something you feel in your heart. This is something this is personal, and they want to get some kind of attention there. So this Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which I have no idea what that means, but these guys dressed up as nuns doing pole dancing on the cross. On the crucifix, really? They're allowing this to happen, and the Dodgers were allowing these people in the Chavez Ravine to watch a baseball game. Of course, they did this before the game started, because first they invited them, disinvited them, and then for some reason or other they said, well, no, we're going to invite you back, and then they did it a couple hours before the game even started. Now, making fun of, even Clayton Kershaw said, making fun of other denominations, other people's religions, no matter what you are, whether you're Muslim, you're Jewish, you're Catholic, you're Christians, and Catholics are Christians, but still, whatever, Baptists. Don't make fun. Everybody has the right to believe what they want to believe in their God and how they want to believe it. I'm a Catholic, and I believe in Catholicism, and I'm also a Dodger fan, a big Dodger fan. And for them to do something like this, I think they stepped out of bounds, and hopefully they'll get it right from here on out and not do this again. And just, I think Bud Light learned a lesson doing what they did. That one really cost them a little bit. And I think Target did the same thing. I think you keep yourself in your lane, doing what you do, and stop trying to please all these other, groups, small groups, be as it may, and really putting yourself in a bad spot, because some people are like, live and let live, but do what you want to do, be what you want to do. Everybody has the right to that. As long as you're an American, you have there's certain rights that you have as being just an American, and you have that right. But don't go shoving it down my throat. It's something like that. I mean, lesbian, gay, that's one thing. And I think Tammy Bruce said it one time. It was kind of really, I mean, I guess you can think about it that way, but I never really thought about it that way. She goes, I'm a lesbian. I'm a woman that loves women. I don't want to be a man. I want to be a woman. I want to be a woman that loves women. I mean, yeah, well, I guess guys feel the same way. Guys that love other guys, well, that's what they want. Okay? But that's not trans, okay? Trans, that's different altogether. That's not the gay and lesbian movement, the way I see it. Now, that's my opinion. I mean, I think others, if you have a different opinion, let me know. And going back to Trump, we have to stay on track. We have to get Trump back into the presidency, okay? And I think, personally, I think the indictment, I think it should be thrown out. Whether it will or not, I don't know. But I think it should be thrown out. I think the Presidential Records Act covers Donald Trump and taking the records with him. I don't think he did, or they can even prove they're saying that he showed it to somebody else. I don't think he did. I think he might have said something that maybe alluded that he said something to someone about it, but didn't tell him anything. He didn't change any of the records. He didn't destroy any of the records. The records were all still there intact, and I don't see where there was any harm, other than the fact they want Trump out of the way, because Trump can beat Biden, and we need him to beat Biden. We need him back in the presidency. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and share it with your friends. If you have any comments or questions, hit the comments section below. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification, and you'll be notified next time I put out a video. Thank you very much.